Myself. I have both the privilege and the honour of being Apiculture's New Zealand's first official Chief Executive. It's a real privilege to represent members of this organisation and to work in such a dynamic and exciting industry. It's also an honour because even though ApiNZ is just over 1 year old, the beekeeping industry has a rich history and heritage, and I'm honoured to be part of the next chapter of its story. So I've been Chief Executive now just for 8 months. I came to the industry from another primary sector, the seafood industry, and many years ago I started in the wool board. So you could say that the primary sector is something I'm pretty familiar with. I've also got a strong communications background. I was attracted to this role principally because I could see so much potential for this industry to come together and collaborate more effectively, and as part of that, tell its great New Zealand story on the global stage. I mean, already companies, you look around the trade stores today, they do a great job of communicating and connecting with consumers, talking about the provenance and premium quality of their honey or honey products. But as an industry, there's also an opportunity for us to be more joined up in how we demonstrate a sustainable growth story and how we demonstrate our innovation and support national activity that strengthens the trust and confidence of markets, both in our products and in our practices. So as an industry, I congratulate you. You've taken a huge leap of faith to create a new national industry body to represent and lead the nation's apiculture sector. I commend you for taking that step. I note, frankly, that it was well overdue. So what have I found since joining the industry? It's diverse. There are many different sectors, and also you're a passionate bunch. You really care about the future of your industry, and yes, we do have our differences, but at the end of it, you really do care. And I firmly believe that our diversity is our strength. It's not a weakness. We can preserve the individuality of the different sectors, but with Apiculture New Zealand as the glue that unites us under one banner. Another factor shaping who we are is the phenomenal growth that we've experienced over the last 10 to 15 years. Largely off the back of Manuka honey, we've seen unprecedented growth in hive numbers. Registered hive numbers are standing at over 800,000 today, and there's expectations it could reach 1 million by the end of the year. In the last 12 months, there have been over 1,800 new beekeeper registrations, with almost 8,000 beekeepers today. And as we saw yesterday, there's been a 10-fold increase in our export sales. Some of you who've been in the industry for some time and have shared with me your concerns about the impact of that change, including losing a special working way of life, to having to deal with things like beehive theft and overcrowding. And we saw that articulated in a recent listener article. At the same time, that article highlighted the significant opportunities we have, particularly in how science and research are being used to identify and develop new and exciting products, and how industry is using technology to work smarter. Our industry challenge, frankly, it's navigating that changing environment, holding on to the things that we want to keep, and remaining firmly in charge of our destiny. So that means dealing with what I call the growing pains proactively, finding solutions to them that we can live with. Let's not wait nor expect government to fix these unless, of course, we as an industry decide that they have a role to play. And let's not sell ourselves short. Last month's MPI's Situation and Outlook report showed that this is the 8th year that we've seen the value of honey per kilo increase. Now that's a stunning success story. What other primary industry do you know of that has shown that level of increase in value, not volume, value? It's something we should be enormously proud of, and something, of course, that we're all keen to see continue. For all of those reasons that I've outlined, it's even more important for us as an industry to stand together, fighting the battles that matter, ultimately ensuring we grow the value of our industry, and primarily we grow it sustainably. And that's where Apiculture New Zealand comes in. Over the past year, we've been in set-up mode, establishing ourselves, building our profile within the New Zealand apiculture landscape. We've put in place a range of practical services to support your business or hobby, It's the tangible things like the land use agreements, health and safety programs. It's also the communications that you get, the regular updates on issues that matter to you, and of course the excellent New Zealand Beekeeper Journal. We've got strong governance in place. The board, I can tell you this, is truly representative of all the different sectors. They're there to be the voice for their sector, whether a commercial beekeeper, a market member or a non-commercial. And I can say, as Chief Executive, that's really evident when they're discussing issues and making decisions around the board table. And some of you will have seen that we've established the 5 APNZ focus groups. There's a stand about that, so please do go and have a look. And those focus groups are across standards, biosecurity and GIA, science and research, Māori engagement and educational skills. Again, these members of these groups come from your industry sectors, and they are playing a really important role in helping shape our policies and our programs. And on that, I would really like to acknowledge the Standards Focus Group. I know some of you are here today for the tremendous work they did in helping us put together our submission on the MPI's Mānuka honey definition. And finally, as an organisation, I do think we have increasingly become the go-to place for members, whether it's issues that they are dealing with at a one-on-one level, to fronting government on issues like MPI's Mānuka honey science definition, developing good industry programs like the apprenticeship scheme, or talking to media on issues of the day. Sorry. So that's all well and good. Looking ahead. We've made a good start, but as one of my forthright members said to me, Karin, the honeymoon's over. Now let's see what you can deliver. So clearly we do need to be very clear on our future and our strategy and our plan to get there. And as the new CE coming into this industry, I took the opportunity when meeting and talking to members around the country to ask them what they saw as the key issues and opportunities our industry faces, and frankly what role APNZ needed to play in supporting them. That followed a number of sessions with the board to flesh out a draft strategy, one that defines our purpose, sets some ambitious but realistic goals, and priorities over the next 3 years. So we plan to share the detail of that with our members at the AGM, but I do want to share some of our thinking around that today. The conversations with the members and the work with the board highlighted 4 key areas of focus, and they won't be a surprise to you. Ensuring New Zealand bee and honey products are acknowledged for their authenticity and integrity, protecting the health of New Zealand bees, representing and advocating for industry to government, building the public profile of our industry and its importance to New Zealand and the primary sector. These gave us a very good steer in thinking about our strategy and our priorities. And particularly, also though, it was very clear talking to members that trust and confidence, especially in the early days of setting up a new organisation, are really important too. So that led to us coming up with 3 overarching goals. The first was to secure and strengthen APNZ as the peak body for the apiculture industry. So I think we've made a good start, as I said earlier. We know that we need to be at the centre of relationships with key influencers like government, and that we carry the flag for industry on key issues. But we also need to secure a strong and stable funding base for APNZ, and to build on our capability around things like policy, technical expertise and research. We need to invest some serious research in bee health. So that will mean we're keen to pursue a commodity levy, and we will be seeking industry support to do this. To date, we've talked to MPI, we've had a chat to other industry organisations, and you'll be hearing more about that. The second goal is strengthening trust and confidence of markets in the industry's products and practices. In building market trust, our reputation for premium high-quality honey and bee-related products is well established around the world, no doubt about it. That positive reputation, though, is a significant collective asset for New Zealand honey and related products, and it underlies that high average price per kilo I talked about earlier. Supporting our members to retain and build on that reputation is something we see APNZ needing to do over time. That doesn't mean taking over the marketing of New Zealand honey and related products, That's rightly the role of individual companies. However, it does mean playing a role in supporting and developing standards and definitions, whether that's in partnership with government or as industry-owned and led initiatives. It also means we need to be more proactive in understanding the marketplace, and we need to be able to share that intelligence with our members to help them make informed decisions. So I seem to have got a little bit out of order. So take the MPI definition, for example. All going well, we'll get to a place where we have a robust, regulatory-backed definition in place. And we've got Brian Wilson here this morning from MPI to talk to you about the definition. So that's a good start. But how do we, as an industry, support that definition? How do we proactively protect the reputation and authenticity of the New Zealand Mānuka honey? How do we give consumers a guarantee of New Zealand origin? How do we ensure the value of New Zealand Mānuka honey? I think there's an opportunity for industry to take a leading role here, and I'm pleased to be able to update you on some collaborative industry and government work that has started, it's just started, around developing a mark of authenticity, a trust mark, if you like, for all genuine New Zealand Mānuka honey based on the definition. In conjunction with New Zealand Trade and Enterprise, we're working with some large companies, Comvita, Watson & Son and Mānuka Health, 3 of our members, to look at a New Zealand Mānuka trust mark, to look at how it could support consumer confidence across our international markets. Look, it's an exciting development. It's early days yet as we work through the concept and business case, but I do think too it's a defining moment in our industry to see 3 major companies in our industry band together for the good of industry. And there's a real willingness to share that with the wider industry, that work, through Apiculture New Zealand, and in a way that all our members can access. And it's a growing recognition that industry, collaboration, working in partnership with government is how we'll secure our future and create value for our members. The third and last priority is protecting our assets. And it's not just the tangible ones, it's the intangibles, the reputation. You know, issues like overstocking, boundary concerns, beehive theft, they're threats, and if we don't deal with them maturely, this conflict will impact on our reputation and our international reputation and put at risk our social licence to operate. A social licence is something we currently have by the bucketful. Believe me, I came from the seafood industry. They've always had to fight for the right to operate. People love our bees, they love our industry, they love the natural environment and the unique taste of New Zealand honey. We don't have to fight for our right to operate, but it's something we should never take for granted. We need to protect that. We need to maintain best practice standards and lead the world in this, rather than let competitive practices compromise how we manage our critical natural assets and the welfare of our bee population. Again, it's about being proactive, looking at what we can do to protect our future. Take the Code of Ethics, for example. We've got one. How can it play a more effective role in guiding best practice? We've got an ethics session coming up. I'll be there along with Pam Flack, and I really look forward to seeing some of the solutions that you bring to the table. To conclude, I've heard it said that the honey industry, and Mānuka in particular, is a gold rush. The problem with the gold rush, as you know, is that people can end up with bullets in their backs, and the focus is on the now. What can I get for myself today? We're growing quickly, and business is good. We don't want that gold to run out. The only way to do that is plan, think in the longer term, act in a collective interest, trust each other, and not criticise one another unnecessarily. If we do this, the industry will grow and there'll be something there for everyone. Working together through APNZ is the key to a prosperous future for the whole industry and not just for a few lucky ones. Thank you.